So if you're subscribed, as you can see here, I'm doing something different. This is a brand new setup, kind of working with what I got right now. Kind of have a weird mic situation going on right now. I'm using the ear pods right now just for this A-roll shot, and then I'm going to be using some overhead cameras and built-in mics. It's a mess, so bear with me here. I'm also going to work on painting this wall something other than puke yellow. But anyway, if you're new here, today we're going to be doing a comparison between two phones I think are worthwhile in 2019, and they are the OnePlus 5 and the Essential phone. They're priced very similarly with very similar specs, and I thought I'd do a rundown to kind of help you decide which one is worth your money, once again, as of 2019. So without further ado, let's begin. Alright guys, so here we have the OnePlus 5 and the Essential phone. Both as of right now go for a similar price used or refurbished, which I recommend you get in that condition because you're going to get the most bang for your buck. They have similar specs, similar origin dates or release dates or whatever, and they're both really worth checking out. Both are great smartphones, but today I'm going to tell you kind of the differences between them and help you decide which one is better for you personally. Anyway, beginning with the designs, they are different but both beautiful, I would say. You have a more aluminum look right here with the OnePlus 5 and a more premium, I would say, glass feel with the Essential phone. You have a titanium band with the Essential phone as well, a very premium feature, I will say. Both feel great in the hand. The Essential phone is obviously heavier due to its materials. You have a front-facing fingerprint scanner on the OnePlus 5, whereas you have a back-facing fingerprint scanner on the Essential. Both are comfortable. I would say the back-facing scanner is more comfortable on the Essential phone, but I would say both look beautiful. I will say the Essential phone wins though, because, I don't know, it just has this really industrial look and a nice, almost bezel-less display. You have this weird kind of chin here, which is a little awkward, I would say. With this top camera, it's interesting. I would say this is a little more, you know, normal, typical. You're not going to get any strange looks with this, but this phone, you're either going to love it or hate it, especially with this notch and this large chin. I personally like it, but that's kind of up for you to decide. But yeah, both phones are very high quality, I would say. Both made out of premium materials, but I will say that the Essential phone does go above and beyond with build quality. So if you're into that, this is the phone to buy. One thing worth noting though is that the OnePlus 5 has a headphone jack, so if you're into that, then obviously get this phone. This one doesn't. You have to buy your own accessories or use wireless, which isn't a big deal for someone like me, but if you're into wired headphones, definitely go with the OnePlus 5. Also, before I move on, the speaker quality, I would say for both are similar. They're both down-firing, nothing that special. I'm kind of spoiled by my iPhone XS Max's stereo speaker setup, so be wary. I'm going to be a little biased, but yeah, I would say both are comparable. I think I might like the OnePlus a little better. Let me take a listen here.
Phone 2019. See, I've done this sort of thing roughly.
Yeah, okay, so just testing that out, I do think the OnePlus speaker is a little better, and this phone did not have a good speaker. This one was a little more tinny, less high quality. This one has a fuller sound, and that's coming from someone who uses, once again, the XS Max, which has an amazing stereo speaker setup. So, yeah, if you want a better speaker, then go with the OnePlus 5, I'd say. Moving on to displays, both have similarly sized displays. This one coming in at 5.5 inches, this one coming in at 5.7 inches. Correct me if I'm wrong, but there are some huge key nuances here. Obviously, you have bigger bezels here. This is a 1080p AMOLED panel. This is a 1440p IPS panel. So with this, you're lacking some resolution, but you do get better battery life and the beautiful things that come with OLED. Really super deep blacks and great viewing angles. And here you have a higher resolution. Videos and other content looks super crispy. But this is an IPS panel, so viewing angles aren't the best, and some colors look a little more desaturated compared to this AMOLED panel. But both are great displays. I would say you can't really beat either of these two phones for the money with the displays that you're getting. So if resolution is important to you, get this phone and maybe learn to love this weird-ish kind of aspect ratio. Or if you're more into color and contrast and getting some more battery life, then go with the OnePlus 5. I would say both have beautiful displays, but if I was to pick one personally, I would go with the OnePlus 5. I don't really find an issue with the lack of pixel density. I mean, the PPI on here is somewhere in the 500s. This one's in the 400s. Both look amazing to me, and I personally would go for the AMOLED qualities over this. Even though it looks more flashy and sharp, you get better battery life here, and just overall better colors. Also, one thing I wanted to note is that I believe OnePlus has like a lower latency display or something. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just better performing, but I don't know. When you're scrolling, I just noticed that there's more of a jitter with the Essential phone, whereas here it's really buttery smooth. So that's gonna bug the hell out of you. Then I would once again go with the OnePlus. But I mean, either way, this is a small kind of issue that I have with the Essential phone. I still love the phone to death, and the user experience is still very smooth, as I will continue on later. As far as battery life goes, I'm not gonna lie, I've spent more time with the OnePlus 5, so I can give you more accurate rating. I mean, this phone lasted me all day, no problem, and it charges super quickly with dash charging. This phone also features quick charging, which is really nice, but it's not nearly as quick as dash charging from what I've experienced. Apparently, this phone can get you around 5 to 6 to 7 hours of screen on time with its 1440p panel. That's surprising. Really great battery life, especially if you buy this new. I don't know how refurbished goes, so you might have to research that. I haven't had this phone long enough to accurately give you that information. But from what I can tell you, both phones rock great battery lives. I will say it is going to be better on here because not only does it have a 1080p display, but it has a bigger battery by a couple hundred milliamp hours. So in terms of battery life, if you want the better performing phone, buy the OnePlus 5 once again. But if you're willing to sacrifice a bit for the 1440p display on here, then by all means do so. This is a great phone nonetheless. Moving on to camera quality, I will say both of these phones are not famous for being the best photo or video takers. Once again, I'm gonna say this round goes to the OnePlus 5 because at least OnePlus took some time to make their camera better. The camera was a huge issue with this phone when it was being sold for $699. People thought it was really unrefined and kind of half-baked. I still think it is. It still does the job. And like, once again, if camera quality isn't too important to you, then this should not be a deciding factor because both these phones are not the best. I mean, like, they're kind of oversaturated, over-sharpened. It kind of has that trying too hard to be a good photo look, if you know what I mean. As for the user experiences, I mean, like, Essentials is okay. It's smooth enough. I remember when I first got the phone and did an upgrade, it was just awful. So this is better than what it was. Video seems to be all right. The stabilization is kind of eh. Same for here. This one has EIS, but I will say the photo taking experience is a lot quicker here. It has quicker autofocus from what I've seen, and the video recording experience is much better. Also gonna demo some video here. Let's see, I'm gonna focus up. So watching these videos back, not only is the user experience better playing these videos, but the color and the sharpness of the bokeh are better here, as well as stabilization. OnePlus has excellent EIS that comes with the OnePlus 5, so do keep that in mind. As for the rear cameras, both are a dual system. There's a dual 13 megapixel system happening here, both I believe with apertures of 1.85. Then you got a 60 megapixel main shooter here and a 20 megapixel telephoto. This one with f2.2 I believe, and this one with f1.8. Both, I would say, are not the best for low light. Their processing and what they've done here, it's not like the best, so don't buy this camera if you wanted like a nice low light shooter. Go for like a used Pixel 2 or something like that. But overall, I would say both do the job, or do the trick, I guess, when it comes to photo taking. If you're not super serious about it, once again, I'd say the experience is better on here. It's a little more refined, especially with Oxygen OS. But I mean, if you want to buy this phone for its looks and for its software, don't be discouraged. This isn't like a god-awful camera. It just isn't anything spectacular. So I'm gonna take a photo of this globe that I have here. I was looking like John Green a minute ago. So let me take a photo here so you can compare them in post. This is point and shoot going on right here. This is more in focus. I like the colors more. Maybe that's just the display, but I don't know. Maybe I'm being biased, but from what I can tell, this camera is a lot better in terms of sharpness and color. Again, that's the display, but still, this was just a point and shoot test. I didn't do anything out of the ordinary. Just, once again, just held it, took a picture. This one turned out better. I like the bokeh a little more. And yeah, I mean, once again, if you're not super serious about camera quality, I wouldn't worry too much about buying the Essential phone, but if you want an extra little edge, go with the OnePlus. You're going to be a little bit more happy with what you're getting. And as for the front-facing cameras, if that is important to you, there is a 16 megapixel shooter here, which is capable, I believe, of recording up to 1080p 30, maybe 1080p 60. I'm sorry, I didn't fact check myself here, but I'll leave any corrections in the video format or whatever. There is an 8 megapixel sensor here, but what's interesting is you can record 4K. I don't know why you'd want to, but it's a feature nonetheless. This has a little wider field of view also, as you can see here, so that might be something that entices you as well. And that's about it for the camera. Once again, I'd say I think the OnePlus does a better job of taking photos. It's more refined, higher quality. But once again, if you want to go with the essential, it's not going to be the end of the world. And lastly, let's talk about the most important aspect, which is performance. And both are great performers. Both rock Snapdragon 835s. This phone rocks 4 gigs of RAM, while this phone packs 8 gigs of RAM, in some cases 6, depending on which model you get. I have the Midnight Black version here, and I have the Moon Black version here. Multitasking on these devices is not an issue at all, despite the disparity in the amount of RAM that you have here. I didn't really have too many reloads in my case. Both phones seem to have pretty decent RAM management. Once again, I will bring up there is somewhat of a latency with the animations I have seen on the Essential phone. If you can see here, this one's a little more buttery, but this one's a little more choppy. I don't know what that is. I don't think it has to do with refresh rate. I hope it doesn't. But yeah, just that is something to note. I think that the overall experience on the OnePlus is just a little more buttery than what you can get on here. OnePlus is very famous for optimizing their devices very, very well. But once again, harkening back to design, this user experience on here is stock. It doesn't have any bloat. I mean, like, you're pretty much downloading all the programs on here. It comes with like 15 apps installed. Very, very light. And yeah, I would say the overall user experience is buttery, just like the OnePlus, just a little less so, because once again, Oxygen OS is really, really optimized, and that's kind of what you're paying for with OnePlus devices in general. That's why I bought the OnePlus 6. I plan on buying the OnePlus 7. That's something that OnePlus is really known for. Whereas here, I say that Essential has focused more on the design aspect, kind of the minimalism that is kind of surrounding their company's image. And yeah, I mean, it kind of shows. There are less overall features here. You get a little more control over your icon packs and whatever. You don't really have too much control here without rooting your device and without going out of your way to customize it more. You can customize Oxygen OS out of the box a lot more than just plain old stock Android. But maybe that's something you like. Maybe that's your cup of tea. I don't know. Personally, I would use either of these phones and be very happy. So I'll just run through some apps here, kind of show you what you're getting with this experience. I'm gonna blur some things out actually. So here we go. Both are really exceptionally fast in my opinion. They're very smooth for their age, and the Snapdragon 835 has aged really well, I think, especially with Android Pie. Things run really quickly and smoothly. So here we are with the notification panel, very smooth on both. Let's do a quick little Google search here. Again, very, very quick. I don't know, I think this is my dad's spare phone now, so okay, Lindsey Buckingham heart surgery, cool. Then we're gonna go home. Let's do some multitasking here. Again, very smooth, but you can notice this is a little more buttery. This one is smooth, but not quite as smooth, I would say. Let's go to YouTube. Let's see how that loads up here. Can I find it? Who knows? Here we are. And boom, there we go. I would say once again, scrolling is just a little more smooth on here on the OnePlus, in my humble opinion. Both of these devices can run games, although I don't have any installed here. High frame rates, nothing to worry about. It might be a little better on here, I don't know, but I'm pretty sure that they both run exceptionally well on both, especially like those lighter titles like Clash of Clans. Like I said, lighter games especially, and some heavy games should run on these phones no problem at all. Also, before I forget to mention the unlock features, Jesus, you got your front-facing fingerprint sensor here. Both are exceptionally quick. I think this is a little bit quicker, but you shouldn't be slowed down by either of these. There's also face unlock on here, so keep that in mind if that is a feature that you're looking for. But yeah, overall, I'm sorry if the perspective shift, the camera shut off. Both of these phones are more than worthwhile. Of course, like I said, there are some key nuances. I would say at the end of the day, if you want a better quality display in terms of color and contrast, if you want a little bit better camera and better performance, I would go with the OnePlus 5. It's once again a similar price to this used or refurbished or whatever. And if you want a very unique premium design, a 1440p display, and a really, really stock, almost pixel-like experience, I would say go with this, but do accept that the camera is kind of eh. I mean, both of these cameras aren't the best once again, but you do get a better camera, I think, here with the OnePlus 5. But once again, both are amazing phones for what you're paying for them. Do not buy them new. I don't think they're worth it new at all. Buy them used or refurbished. I got this phone for $229 off of Amazon, refurbished. It's pretty much new from what I can tell. Great, great condition. and great for what you're getting in terms of specs and all that. But yeah, couldn't recommend these phones enough, especially for people who are looking for a budget-oriented device. Don't go out and buy like a Moto G6. I would say just buy one of these. They're just the best bang for your buck. I would say budget-oriented Android phones you can get right now, or some of them. Great phones, great experiences, and great prices once again for what you're getting. So yeah, that about wraps things up. I hope this comparison video helped you out if you're deciding between these two phones. I think they're both amazing deals for what you're paying, around like $229, $250-ish. Personally, I'd go with the OnePlus 5. I don't know about you. Leave me a comment below what you think is the better deal. And for my reoccurring viewers and subscribers, don't worry. I'm still going to be uploading my high quality reviews. This is just another way I can reach out to you guys on more centered topics. So let me know what you thought about this kind of format. I'd love to hear what you think. I'd really appreciate it if you leave a like in the video, comment if you have any questions or suggestions, and subscribe for more content like this. And as always, I'm Noah, and I will catch you all in the next one.